for Show Ready from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Reed's Volkswagen in Tampa, Florida, and we have the new talk of the town for Volkswagen. This is the 2019 Arteon. This car is replacing the outgoing CC, and what's interesting is that if you took this car, went over to Reeves Audi, this would actually slot right in between the Audi A5 Sportback and the Audi A7. It replaces the CC. The Volkswagen CC is no longer in existence. What's great about this new Arteon, it's actually 2.3 inches longer than the CC, which means it's going to give you more room on that interior, but it's also shorter than the current Passat to really give it some nice proportions to make it that sporty luxury feel. And you could option this all the way up to that R-Line spec with 4Motion. This one though is a nicely optioned SEL with all the same bells and whistles underneath the hood as that fully loaded 4Motion. So let's go ahead and dive into the 2019 Arteon. Right off the bat, you'll notice how low the appearance is and how wide it is. A lot of that has to do with this grille area. So because of all the horizontal slots in the grille, it makes the car even look wider and lower than what it really is. What I do like is I love the way these these horizontal lines go into the headlight housing. You got your daytime running lamps built into those, and I just like the way that it gives it a nice, clean, cohesive look. Look at that hood. I love the way it curves down, gives it that sporty intention. We have some flat black that goes from the front onto the corners, but what's nice is that these are not functional, but it is an air curtain. So I'm gonna zonk it for not being a functional vent, but it does channel air down that side air curtain. As we come across the front, you got that traditional Volkswagen logo, the people's car, been around since 1937. Behind this plastic panel is all of the technology for adaptive cruise control and all that. You can see how they brought that flat black all the way across the bottom. Little bit of a lip spoiler kicking out just a tad, but really just a clean look for Volkswagen when it comes to the front end of the business. Now up on the hood, you do have these nice two powerful lines, gives that center portion a raised look, and then you're of course going to have the two lines on the side to kind of peak up the fender a little bit. As we come around that fender, really loving just the style, the sharp lines into the hood. Another thing I want to show you is also look at how the hood matches with that fender. Really nice styling, flat around the fender opening here. 18-inch wheel. So this is a SEL, that's an 18-inch wheel, brushed aluminum, gloss black with that Volkswagen logo. Very, very clean look. Gives you enough of a sidewall of a tire to where this is going to give you a comfortable ride. Remember, the bigger the wheel, the less comfortable that ride's going to be because there's less rubber to cushion all the bumps and manhole covers and everything else. Now, as we go into the fender, I actually like this decorative treatment. It gives it a nice extra touch, kind of brightens the side up a little bit. There's those distinctive body lines. You have two up top that go all the way to the back, and then you have this lower sill extension that extends out just enough with some nice silver trim all the way from one side to the other. We go up onto the roof. This is where you're going to see a zonk. I wish they would have blacked out this whole roof. The reason why is that they have an oversized sunroof, but if you notice, they blacked it out here and then they left the rest of it white. Make this all black, would blend in that shark antenna and really just give it a more clean look. Now, as we continue, you can see how that roof line is gonna slope down, nice shape on the quarter window. And then when we come out back, remember, technically this is a hatchback. This is like the Audi A5 Sportback. So this whole trunk area is gonna lift up with the glass. You have a nice third brake light, really slim and trim. I don't think I've seen a third brake light that slim at the top of the roof there. And then working our way down, very distinctive LED taillights. It kind of reminds me of the CC, the back end of the business here. Tasteful Arteon badging. I'm not a big fan of this piece. This is an optional chrome piece to protect the bumper. I just think it looks a little too gaudy on the back, but I do like the silver trim. You have decorative exhausts that are open. They're just not connected to the tailpipe, which I wish they would just connect it. If it's here, connect it. So that is a zonk, but it is blended in nicely, and a very interesting rear diffuser area. You can see how it goes under, but there's actually another piece, almost like a shelf underneath there. Little different design to just make it something extra sporty out back. But why don't we pop the hood and see what's powering this Arteon? All right, guys, we got the hood popped on this Arteon SEL. Like I was telling you, this isn't like Burger King. You can't have it your way. It's only one engine option, one transmission option. You're looking at that 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine, 267 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, and it's all mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in about 6.3 seconds in this front-wheel drive Arteon, quarter mile in about 14.8. The car weighs around 3,800 pounds, actually 3,835 pounds if you wanted the exact number. MPGs, 22 in the city, 31 on the highway. And if you're comparing this to the CC power-wise, this actually has more horsepower than the Volkswagen CC. Now I am gonna zonk it because I feel like it should have more horsepower, like Golf R horsepower rating, I think would be a lot nicer setup on this. And also the 7-speed DSG, I think would be the sweet spot. But why don't we go ahead, fire up the Arteon and see what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside the 2019 Volkswagen Arteon. This is where you're gonna be pleasantly surprised. They've really raised the bar on fit and finish, and it really feels like I'm sitting in an Audi product. And that kind of makes sense because remember, Volkswagen Group, part of that is Audi. Now, if you're wondering, well, what is the price? Does this have an Audi price tag? The SEL trim, the way you see it sitting here, is MSRP around $41,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. Now I like what they did. Instead of having just a sea of dark material, we have some nice tan brownish color with the wood grain. It works. It's working for me. Normally I'm not a big fan of those types of treatments, but I'm really digging it. And you have soft material at the top of the door panel, and then of course you're gonna have a nice soft armrest to rest your arm on your long travels. Now what I love about the inside of the Arteon, everything is pushed forward. You got that soft dash, the wood grain trim, I'm really digging. Very tasteful clock. It seems like part of the rules is if you're gonna have a higher end model in your lineup, you have to have the analog clock. As we come down, check that out. 8-inch infotainment screen. You could go into your car readings here. You go back to menu, of course. It's a little obviously cumbersome because there's no actual buttons, but once you get into it, you could see that by pressing, there's vehicle again, and then you have your navigation, which obviously we need to get that all set up on this particular car, but very clean, very smooth, very cohesive. Now, as we drop down, you have your dual climate controls, nicely placed, little bit of a cubby area. Here's something interesting, you got a USB built into the actual surround of the shifter. I haven't seen that very often, and I think that's a good idea because the phone will go there and you could plug it right here. Lots of fake buttons though. What's up with that? I wish they would have just put a nice smooth one smooth block button here to kind of just bring it all together. But you have your different drive modes, and then you have your start stop button. Now we go into different drive modes, you can see it actually shows you on the screen, nice clear color graphics, eco, comfort, normal, sport, very tastefully done. This is going to be controlling that 8-speed automatic transmission. You got a nice sliding lid for your 2 cup holders. I'm zonking the 12 volt in here. If you want to run any type of radar detector, that means the cord's got to be stretched across this whole area, and I think that's a terrible, terrible idea. Not too bad on the armrest. You bring it up, you have felt lining in there, another USB, and then these seats. I'm really digging them. I like the color combo with the dark leather, the brown leather on the center. Really nicely done. They're heated, but they're not ventilated. So that to me is a zonk at the price tag of $41,000. There's our oversized sunroof for you and your passenger up front. I'm 6 feet tall, very comfortable in here, very spacious. Why don't you come over to the business end? I'll show you behind the wheel of this Arteon. All right, guys, business end. I just want to point out you have frameless windows on the doors, a little bit different than some of the other Volkswagen products here at Rees Volkswagen. Seat, you have 3 memory settings, full electric assist. I really like the silver on the sill, and also the pedals. Not bad looking set of pedals. I really like the way in Volkswagens how they give you a large dead pedal. Remember, the whole purpose of a dead pedal is, yes, to rest your foot, but it's also there to brace you if you're going to be going down a twisty road or whatnot. Steering wheel, great size, great thickness. I like the soft leather. Very attractive looking horn button. I'm glad they didn't go too large on the Volkswagen logo. Little bit of gloss black, and I do really dig the buttons on these Volkswagens. They're easy to use, easy to understand, and you're not gonna get fingerprints on the buttons. Dash, look at that digital cockpit there. I love the tach, the speedometer, tells you what gear you're in. You would be able to scroll, since we have the door open, you'd be able to scroll through all different sorts of information there through the center display, which is a nice touch as well. And I think that it just really brings up the upscale feel, fit, and finish in this car. But why don't we go ahead, see how your passengers are gonna be loving life in the Arteon. All right, guys, we're in the back seat of the Arteon. One thing that is definitely shocking is that, guess what? 6 feet tall Joe Rady. I got plenty of headroom, and it's surprising because from the outside, that roof line slopes down quite a bit. You can see how they wrap the whole seat in leather. You know me, that is a big thumbs up. Nice felt line pocket. You do have rear AC vents, which is a nice touch, and a 12 volt. Now, I wish they would have just like spruced this up a little bit. It's a little bit on the bland side for the Arteon, but of course you go up trim levels, that's gonna also change as well. Seats, very comfortable, plenty of legroom. I could see now why this car feels better than sitting in the back of a CC, because I've been in the back of a CC and it's kind of cramped. Armrest, I wish they would go horizontal. There's a lot of room here that would be great to put your arm, but you can't because that's where the cup holders are. You do have your pass-through to the trunk. You can have your cooler back there, whatever you need, your big bag of Cheetos for your long trip. But why don't we go ahead, since we found the pass-through to the trunk, let's go actually check out the trunk and see what kind of room we have for a sedan. All right, guys, one of my favorite parts of any Volkswagen is how they hide the actual release to open up your trunk hatchback area. So you're gonna take this, you lift it up, and like I said, it's a lift back, a hatchback, whatever you wanna call it. Lots of room. Those seats could do a 60-40 split, and it actually, you could see how it drops down. There's actually a lot of room to put a little bit taller item back in the rear portion of the car. Now, what I love about cars like these is that, guess what? You don't have to go to a big bulky sedan. You could have a car like the Arteon. Obviously, it just got done raining. Normally, your Arteon will not do that to you when you go to close the trunk, but just got done raining, and I'm a little wet now on the legs, but that's okay, because guess what? I'm gonna dry off by taking this for a spin. Let's go do it. All right, guys, we left Reeves Volkswagen. We're in the 2019 Arteon. What's wonderful about this car, visibility is really great. Now, out the back window, it is a little on the tighter side, but out the front windshield, I really like the way the A-pillars are pulled far apart to where you're gonna be able to get a nice clear view. Also, when it comes to blind spot monitoring, I love the way that they have the yellow lighting on the inside of the mirror closer to the window. It allows you to see that somebody is in your blind spot so much easier. Seats are comfortable, supportive, very nice, and lots of room up here. And I really feel like I'm in a higher end Audi, to be honest with you, with all this wood finish, and that two-tone leather treatment makes it really nice as well. Steering has a great feel. Remember, you could change the modes. We're in sport right now, but it drives very, very nicely, very smooth. Obviously, here in Florida, it's raining. This one's a front-wheel drive, and we're still getting really good traction to those front wheels. Now, one thing that I know many people are going to want, and you can see typical Florida drivers in here, is more power. I'm gonna go ahead and slow down to about 30 on throttle. It's not too bad. It's just for this price point, I would like to have a little bit more power. Like I said, Golf R horsepower would be great in this car, especially the size, the proportions of it and everything. But the digital cockpit, very easy to read at a glance. The infotainment system is easy to get to. We can get back to our menu setting, go into media, whatever it is that you need or want to do. And overall, just very, very comfortable car to be in, and attractive too. That's the thing I really like. Let's see how the U-turn is. Nicely done. No three-point turn you got to worry about. Power away. Little bit of traction loss, but the traction control does its thing, and we're off and running. So quite interesting, like I said, how people are driving in the state of Florida. But very smooth driving car, very quiet. Yes, you're hearing all the rain, but there's no wind noise or anything like that, which is great. I really like the seats though, especially how they hold your mid back and lower back. Very nicely done. Steering wheel has a great feel to it, and I like the feedback that I am getting from the front end, especially because we got to drive it a little bit on some twistier parts of roads to get that ultimate feel of what is it really like, how's the car speaking to you, and whatnot. All right guys, pulling away from the light, even in these wet conditions, very smooth, on throttle. You do get a little bit of engine sound inside the car, nothing too much, but I think just enough for this style of vehicle. I have driven the CC in the past, and I think that this is definitely a way better vehicle overall than that car ever was, and really gives somebody an option that if they need something more luxurious with a little bit of sport to it and that hatchback style, I think that this really fits the bill very nicely and could be that vehicle that stops you from buying an SUV, because you do have plenty of room in here. But we're gonna go ahead, wrap this one up, and get back to Rees Volkswagen, so I'll see you in a split second. All right guys, been a wonderful day here at Rees Volkswagen with this Arteon. I'm so glad we were able to bring this to you with an actual drive. I definitely got to thank Zadie and the rest of the crew here. They love Rady's Rides, and they definitely love Volkswagens, and I love bringing them to you. If these are the types of things that you want to see on the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content on Rady's Rides just for you, click the link in the description, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to give it up to Big Guns McGee, Tom Motioner working out here. I'm getting a little hangry. He's dealing with it like usual, so thank you, Tom, for putting up with me. And just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.